We're back. The regular season is here. We've got to talk about this last game here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show. Thank y'all for pulling up. That's Coop. I am Jay. Thanks for being up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded. Listen to while you're here. Please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Go ahead and give us that 5 anyway and gift it. So, on today's episode of the Sooner or Later Sports Show, me and Coop got a lot of fun stuff to talk about, like the Sooners game 1, what we liked and what we did not like. We're also going to go around the country and look at what went down in SEC play because, you know, we're an SEC school now, a long-standing member of the SEC. And, you know, a few little nuggets here and there about what's going on. Coop, you just blocked the sun out of your face, but how's your Sunday going?
It is a sunny Sunday. No, it's not. It actually is overcast. But, man, I feel good. I feel good. Nice slate of football. I had a long soccer weekend with the kiddo, and so I was up late and in the morning watching quite a bit of stuff. And but I was watching college football.
Me too. Vitech and South Carolina just finished. South Carolina gets that 80-yard punt return for a touchdown, and I think that kind of sealed the deal for them.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Oh, that's no bueno. So we'll be talking a lot of stuff that just flew across the table. That is intriguing. But yeah. Anyway, we won. As our guy RDS here has told every single one of y'all, go ahead, get in the water. Why Sooners? So we'll start off with, of course, we'll go the good, the bad, the ugly from this game. And yeah, let's go ahead and just jump right into that, Coop. Sooners get the W, 35-3. Oklahoma wins over Illinois State, FCS Illinois State, who was a playoff team. We did a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of questions still out there as fans have been flooding the comment section of my morning after video. So, Coop, let's start off with some good. Let's get some feel good here. What did you think about Oklahoma's offensive performance to start?
The game started out with, this was the two caveats that we say everything with. Yes, this was an FCS team, and yes, it was a vanilla play call across pretty much everything. You didn't see a great variety of situations out there on offense, but the offense was able to do things. And, that's something that you can say looking back into last year. We said it didn't seem like there was anything that you could fall back on. And it seems like when we ran into a little bit of an issue with the running game, and sometimes offensive line's fault, sometimes running back's fault, we turned back to the passing game, and that was where we were able to really do some things. You saw not only John Mateer that's the best part about everything, is John Mateer saw open looks, and he took advantage of them, and he nailed them. And so that's a positive. I mean, how many times last year did we have to go back in the film and say, dudes were actually running wide open and nobody saw them? Well, John Mateer will see you. And John Mateer also will let his receivers make a play. We saw 2 phenomenal catches. You saw the back shoulder to Keontae Lewis earlier in the game. You saw the Deion Burks one-hander. Still don't understand why there's no pass interference called on that, because dude had one of his arms locked up. But Burks made that. They hurried up on the play. So you saw playmaking on the offensive side of the ball from the quarterback in the skilled positions. And 8 catches by the tight ends, Jay. 8.
And he spread the ball around. So you actually saw
Yeah.
multiple people making catches that we didn't really anticipate. Honestly, my first thought about the way the offense played, yeah, I know people aren't very happy about the way that we ran 32 carries for 103 yards. Wasn't all that great. But when Torrey Blaylock was in there before he hurt his shoulder, 5.5 yards per carry, 8 carries, 44 yards. Just find the hole and going. Love the work ethic of Javonte Barnes. I don't think he's it. I think he's down. I think that's we'll just have to call a spade a spade. There were, when I went to rewatch, I've rewatched it twice. Looked at it some this morning. Looked at certain spots just to jog my brain, and then I went back this afternoon. I basically spent most of this afternoon rewatching with purpose. I want to see who was in the game when certain things happened. Like when some of the big runs happened, when the quarterback scrambled and got some yards. I was trying to see, okay, who was actually in the game during a lot of these times and why did certain things happen the way they did. And initially in the run block, there was a lot of holes. They just weren't being hit. Blaylock gets in the game and he instantly hits holes that are there. So Barnes, 7 carries, 9 yards. It looked like he just didn't cut straight up. But Blaylock got you 8 carries, 44 yards. He was smashing into the hole and was borderline. Yeah, he was just running with force. Sucks that he hurt his shoulder and is out. I'm assuming it was a stinger, but I'm going to also assume that he's probably out for a bit. So that's not that big. That's something we're going to wait for. Going at the half at 21-0 kind of, made me say, all right, what are we doing? Like, what is the play here? And it was John Mateer really looking around and just throwing it. It felt like he wasn't trying to run the ball at all. It was like he was holding himself back from running, which I thought was kind of funny.
It was. And Jay, can I just say that you saw him making adjustments. You saw him. There was a couple times where, early in the play call, I remember one that it was actually a 2-back set, and I think it was a 2-back set. It might have been Blaylock. Blaylock went out wide, and he stood up. He looked over. He motioned him back over into the back, and then he kind of pointed where he needed to go, and that was command of the offense. And let's just go ahead and say it is what it is. Like, there was no command of the offense last year at any point in the game. It was at any point in the season. It was just, what can we get? Can we just not mess up? But you look like the offense. And I'll say this, if you're upset that we didn't really crush it in the first half, you got to look at two things. Number one, Javonte on the play where he has a wide open hole up the middle. I think he saw the linebacker kind of sitting off to the edge and decided, hey, I'm going to take it to the outside.
Yep.
He got tackled for a loss. He just cuts it back up in the middle. With Ford, if he gets to that other linebacker and gets stopped, that's an 8-yard gain. And then you had the Kanik fumble. Maybe with that situation, just a little too excited for the play. He got the ball popped out. Listen, if it's going to happen, I'd rather it happen right then. First game of the season, get out there and do that. The offense and Ben Arbuckle went back to him multiple times. He had ended up with 5 catches, 90 yards, right? And so, that's not a bad situation. You got 3 OU receivers right now in the top 3 in receiving yards in the top 12 receiving yards in the SEC. So, we've got receivers making plays. John Mateer making plays. And I think that if you look at a comparison, Game 1, 2015, Baker Mayfield, Samaj P. Ryan, and Joe Mixon at the running back spot, those guys, I hear that they turned out okay. That game, same thing. Go in 17-0 at halftime or 17-3 over Akron. Mayfield ends up with 388, first start, so Mateer cleared that. We ran for 100 yards. Now, that was 33 yards with the leading rusher, Samaje. Joe Mixon, 115 yards, leading receiver, Sterling Shepard. So it looked like the same type of a game for your first game out. And I will say that I think that you go in with an offensive line, you are shuffling a couple guys, you held a couple guys out. From what I understand, it sounds like a couple of those guys who did not play on the offensive line, if this was Michigan, they would have played. So you go out there super vanilla, you're not doing much, you're asking Mateer just to sit in the pocket, and like you said, Jay, you hold back. He's not trying to run, he's not trying to get out there and be crazy. And I like that because I think that that's going to be good for him going into the future. But, I mean, dude's almost threw for 400 yards. What was it, 391?
Yeah, I think that's the most yards in the SEC.
392. He is number one passing in the SEC, right in front of Simmons out of Ole Miss.
Yeah, Simmons Ole Miss had some numbers too. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit.
And it's not like he got it by throwing 5-yard screens that went for 65 yards. Like, he was bombing it. And they did a lot more. We played downfield more throughout the whole game. And so, I mean, Jay, listen, do I want the running game to have done some more stuff? Yes. Do I think that we had some points that we left out there, like with the fumble? Yes. The interception, that situation, I think that is you want Deion Burks to turn and sit, and he drifted. And so, I mean, listen, leading passer, 30 of 37, 10.6 yards per attempt. I'm okay with everything that happened from the offense as far as the passing game goes. We know that we need to do it better, but it looks like if the passing game is going to be something that needs to carry us, it can.
7 passes completed over 20 yards in this game. 12 over 15 yards, 15 over 10 yards. We didn't see a lot of that last year.
We were did we have 8 plays over 20 yards last year or something like that? Like, it was
total. Yeah, in total.
All year.
In total. We had 7 in this game. And that was just passes. So, your boy does feel a little confident in the whole Keontez Lewis call out. And when we did our breakdown on who I think maybe the leading receiver is going to be, we set out there. Listen, I think that the offense also is more dynamic than it showed. I think that when we saw some of the stuff start rolling, instead of rolling in new guys, they wanted momentum. And I really like that because instead of throwing in a bunch of other guys and, trying to develop new chemistry, I think they rolled out the same guys out there for most of the game. Kept things kind of just working on that because this is a brand new group of everything out there, from Keontez Lewis, Jaron Kanik, Deion Burks, Jacob Jordan, Torrey Blaylock, Satania, Huggins. Like, none of those guys played together last year. None of them did.
So I'm okay with that. I feel very, very good about, like I said, the passing game. Now we can kind of talk about the running game, here in a little bit, but I feel good about it.
So we played 23 different people. 23, one player. I mean, ZK got out there for one pass possession because Burks went out for a minute and came back. So it counts. Shouldn't have happened to me. I don't see a reason bringing him in. I would have brought him in later. But we played 23 people on the offensive side of the ball, which is pretty good. Logan Howland led the way, 72 snaps with John Mateer. So Logan Howland and John Mateer only just played the entire game. And it's kind of funny that they actually played Mateer this long. Really surprised me that they were actually they played him the full game. In a way, it surprised me. I don't think that it was something that was out of the norm, I guess you could say. We kind of expected him to play maybe the first half and then come out, but it felt more like Mateer wanted to get comfortable and acquainted with everybody around him.
Yeah.
And so he stayed out there. You could see that he wasn't really trying to scramble much. He really was trying to just throw the ball And his numbers kind of reflected that. That's the new record. Baker Mayfield's record was 388, as you mentioned, and now he's at 392 for a debut. He holds that record now. And he threw it around. You had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different people caught a pass. 3 tight ends caught a pass. You had, it's kind of weird, 4 wide receivers and then 2 running backs. So he distributed. Like, his whole plan was to get the ball out and get everybody to buckle up. Played kind of offense. And somebody had texted me about this that watched a lot of Washington State last year. They said, hey, the start of the game is going to be slow. It's going to be a fill-out moment. Give it some time, and then as the game continues, you're going to see it wind up. And that's exactly what happened. I was like, nah, there's no way they're going to. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Everybody's getting acquainted with each other. But now we know this. He really likes Keontez Lewis. And of course, he's fond of Deion Burks. We knew that was going to happen. But he really likes Keontez Lewis. So I'm sensing there's going to be a lot of Keontez Lewis. I sense there's going to be a lot of Zion Kearney in this Michigan game with Deion Burks and rotating a lot of Satania in there to mix things up. That made me happy. But having that many players play, to me, is a pretty big deal. That's a good amount of rotation on the offensive side of the ball. So, the offensive line saw a lot of movement. We're going to talk about that in the bad segment in a bit. We'll kind of explain what we saw on there. Defensive side of the ball, though. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. New to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5. We'll answer some questions in a bit before we switch segments. But we're going to talk a little bit on the defensive side of the ball. What I liked about this defense, first and foremost, Reggie Powers tried to kill a man, and I actually loved it. And so did Daniel Okoye on a kickoff. That warmed my heart. Seeing people get leveled the way they did. Taylor Wine took the quarterback out the game. Look, there was a lot of hitting. But I'm going to talk about the shining star to me on defense. Some of y'all may not agree with this, but this was my feelings on this. This was your shining star on defense, Cortland Guillory. So, and I say that, true freshman starts in this game, and the one thing that I recognized was, and the broadcast said this too, so I thought that was very interesting that they caught it, but they put one of their veteran junior receivers out there. They had him matched up with Guillory. They kept trying to pick on Cortland Guillory. I don't know if you noticed this, Coop. We gave up in this game 151 yards. Okay. That sounds about what you would probably give to an FCS team, right? We gave up 34 yards in the pass game.
34 yards. 34, Jay.
Maine got more than that last year. So did Temple and Houston. Temple got more passing yards, but they got 117 rush. And to me, this is my thought on it. Not everybody in here is going to agree with my thought process behind this, but it really felt like in the start, the first set of chunk yards, I noticed that the players that were in the game weren't players that probably will play a lot going forward. And they missed some assignments. It happens. Reed's missed, working things. Quarterback scramble. Rittenhouse is a dual threat, so he knows what he's doing. But as the game progressed, they were stuffing a lot of them overall. And it felt like they're like, go ahead, I prefer you run the ball so that we can kill this clock. Because the passes weren't very successful.
Well, the Suckowitz guy is a kid that was receiving a good amount, and that's their number one guy. Jay, do you know what he had? Let's see here. I'm pulling it back up. Sorry, this is bad. 2 catches for -3 yards. That's worse than getting shut out because you actually had -3 yards.
Was that the that was the Cortland that was the Gentry Williams tackle. Shout out to him, he's back. And he hit somebody
and looked phenomenal. So the Sockowitz guy was getting offers from several teams, like $1 million offers to transfer out and go somewhere else. And he's the one that had 1,000 yards last year, 1,100 yards, 1,100 yards,
1,100 yards, and 9 touchdowns.
And he's not tiny. I mean, he's 6'3", 205. That is a big boy, and that's the type of guy that when Belichick was in the NFL, that's the type of guy that gets picked up in the 5th or 6th round, and
teams don't realize they're like, who is this dude? Where'd he come from?
Yeah,
I remember seeing him on Saturdays.
No, all of a sudden, dude has 700 yards halfway through the season. So I will say this, like 34 yards. Went back and I looked at we gave up 3 decent running plays on defense, but outside of that, and we'll talk about that in the bad because that's pretty much the only portion that you can talk about. Gentry Williams, I mean that's my star of the game. I think that you had the defensive line was just pushing upfield. You saw the quarterback running for his life several times. You didn't get home. He obviously got knocked out of the game. At that point, you go into the Josh Heupel Tennessee game last year where you're like, let's just keep the clock running. Let's get the hell out of here before we lose folks for the rest of the season. And this is a team that's going to be competing for the FCS championship. And that's probably why you didn't see Rittenhouse come back in. They lost their starting running back in the first game of the season against Iowa last year, and then the previous year they lost the starting running back at the first game of the season too.
Jesus Christ!
So
wow.
At that point for this coach, he's like, if you listen to him on the Oklahoma Breakdown, they had him, the actual head coach, as the guest for the preview, and the guy you could just kind of hear him like, I just want to get out here healthy. He did.
Yeah, he sounded defeated before he even started.
No, it was pretty bad. But this is a team that they don't have the athletes that OU has. They don't have the athletes that any of these other teams we're going to play this year have. But they know what they're supposed to do. And the game plan was, you know what, we're just going to take advantage of the one spot where we think that we can, and that is in the run. They weren't going to be able to hold up with receivers. They weren't going to but they didn't crumble either. So I just got to give 100% kudos to this team for sticking in there as long as they could. But typically when you see like a really good defensive, outcome, Jay, you go back and you look and you're like, well, there's that pass where the guy just flat out dropped it, and there's that guy who just fumbled the ball, and then there's that pass where the guy just absolutely threw a wide open guy. You didn't see that. This was legitimately just there was nothing for anybody in the passing game. Like there was one where he threw back across the entire length of the field, and a wide receiver. It was I want to say it wasn't Sockowitz, it was the other guy, but.
Yeah.
He catches the ball, and Guillory closed on him and stopped him in his tracks. And in the past...
Either it's Casper or Scotty Preston. I think it was Preston, actually. Levin on the outside. I think that's who it was.
Yeah. So, but where I say this is like the pass, any kind of passing yardage that they did get was literally like short side of the field, just a nice little 6-yard out route, and those were the only things that looked like they were uncontested. And if the guy was trying to break it back inside, it was I think it was Kendall Daniels both times where I saw those plays. And I mean, if you're a 6'5" wide receiver and you got that giant running at you, just go out of bounds. Like, you're not here to win this game. You're here to, get it going. So, but yeah, it just, Jay, I just, from the defensive standpoint, a lot of guys looked really good. Did you notice that there was a big 0 in the backfield on defense quite often?
Often. I know that you all have been waiting to see it. Yeah, you saw David Stone back there quite often. Him and Taylor Wine lived in the back with the quarterback, and the quarterback was finding ways to get rid of that ball. I saw one play that they basically had him. He found a way to jump out because Rittenhouse is athletic, and he immediately ran to the side, tried to try and throw it out of bounds, and our Mason Thomas hit him. Somehow the receiver rediverted himself and made the catch out of bounds. It's kind of interesting to see him do that, but yeah, we did everything we needed to do defensively to make me feel comfortable. Like, the question I had most about this, I'm not too concerned about the run defense. I think the run defense is going to be just fine. I didn't have any real. My question was going to be, what was the secondary going to look like? We all know that Gentry had been dealing with the shoulder thing last year. We didn't get him, and I was wondering if he was going to be good when he goes out there to hit. The Temple game, he fell on his shoulder, and we lost him for the rest of the year. So I was worried about that. I was also wondering, like, all right, who's going to be the other corner with Eli on the shelf for a bit? And then they put Cortland. I'm like, okay, we've been talking about Cortland. We've been kind of gassing him up. Let's see what he looks like. And when Illinois State tried to pick on him, put a veteran receiver against this true freshman, they got him with the PI, which that was more of a, you can't be pulling the jersey in front. You got to pull the jersey while it's, right here, not out here. Don't put your arm out and pull. You got to be close to him and pull it where it's blocking. I mean, every corner does it, but he kind of learned a little few techniques there, but he was knocking down passes. He was tackling immediately, so his tackle grade was very high. I was satisfied with that. That, to me, is all the good that we can really go into when it comes to that. We'll talk some bad, of course. We're going to dive into that. So thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. New to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5. We got questions. We're going to go ahead and answer some of these questions real quick. David, stop yelling at you. I'm sorry, man. Had to. Lloyd asked the question, status on Blaylock. Nothing official has come out yet. I know he left, went to the locker room, came back. I don't know if he got back in the game, though. I don't recall seeing him take another carry when I did my rewatch, but I honestly really wasn't paying attention to the run because I truly felt like the focus was throw the ball as much as possible. So I didn't see that. I don't know about you, Coop. Did you see anything on that part?
No, and there's a couple different things. I would say this: it doesn't sound like we'll see him this week. So you're going to have X-Rob and you're going to have Ott. Those guys are going to be out there. Those are going to be your leaders, and then hopefully. In the Lexus post game with the Scoop guys, I listened to about 20 minutes of that. And, they said maybe this is the last time that Javonte Barnes starts. For a while there, it kind of felt like Keyone starting for the team in AD's first year. You just knew that, that was the older guy. That was the trustworthy guy. But you knew that, every single time that he was out there, you just were freaked out that, it was ridiculous that he was the one carrying the ball. I will say this: Torrey Blaylock's going to be a guy, and I'd rather play safe with him on that one.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Thunder OU Sooner asked this question: why wasn't there any playmaking during the first half? We scored on 3 of 5 possessions in the first half. We only had 5 possessions, and one of them was a fumble. That if Koenig didn't fumble that, you probably score again. That's 28-0.
He fumbles at the 40-yard line, going. I mean, on the plus side of stuff. So he fumbles on that one, and we turn around and you hold them to 3. And I'll say this, Jay, is we had the 2 turnovers last year. After we turned the ball over, we gave up scores, or we got the ball back and the offense did nothing yet again. So the next offensive possession after each of our turnovers. That's the interception and the fumble. We scored a touchdown. So, let's just say that, it was not an extended game. It was very, very, it was a very, very close, fast-playing game because those guys, they didn't want to throw incomplete passes. 34 yards passing. They were trying to get in and get out, and you knew that it wasn't going to do anything.
Exactly. Primetime, Vari with them. I'm the only one that didn't see this performance from Lewis. It definitely was a shocker to me. Kind of was looking at that happening myself. Coop said it. That was basically Coop's biggest thing when they did the preview. He thought Keontez was going to be that dude. I figured he was going to get some good looks from Mateer, but I honestly thought it was going to be the Burks and Satania show, and he actually ended up taking that advantage of it instead. So kind of intriguing.
And I'll say Burks reminds me of a mixture of 2 different guys. Geno Lewis, the Penn State transfer several years ago, just a dude that you could just rely upon. And then Lee Morris. Lee Morris, he caught everything. It was weird to see Lee Morris drop a ball. And Keontez Lewis, this is a guy that he is going to find himself on an NFL roster. He was at UCLA. He was at Wisconsin. He went to the Salukis, Southern Illinois. And that was he was a big person to go after. And I could promise you this is for a quarterback, if you know that when you throw the ball to that number, if he's going to come down with it every time, you're going to keep throwing it there.
Jesse asked, will our second stream, because our starters didn't play, be able to push Michigan's D-line around? What? Yes. Did you watch Michigan play? They were kind of struggling against New Mexico. Yeah, I think we're fine there, especially because we held people out for precaution. Unfortunately, you saw Sexton go out, so you replace him with Baklinko. That was 4 offensive linemen that ended up playing. They held Fasusi out. They went in and played Sexton instead. Ozida was out because of that. He had shoulder surgery in the offseason. I think he tweaked something, so they held him back as well. And then you had Derek Simmons that did not play. They're expected to play in Michigan. The goal was for them to be rested and ready to go for the Michigan game, because that's way more important than playing against shades Illinois State, but way more important.
Jay, New Mexico did not run the ball very well against Michigan. I do want to point out a couple things. They had last year in the SEC, and this is just where this league, where college football is now. There were 3,000-yard rushers. One of them being Wisner, who averaged 4 yards a carry, 4.7. You had Dylan Sampson no longer here. Jarquez Hunter no longer here. Rocket Sanders at 881 at number 4. Nate Noel, Missouri, 818. Teams are winning now by throwing the ball. Like, the running game is something to where you got such great defensive lines that you're just not going to run the ball very well. And so you got to be able to have a playmaking quarterback that's going to be able to take some of that off. Like, of those guys, that every single one of those guys are gone. So I just think that you don't have to run the ball. Like, getting 1,000-yard rusher, like, obviously there was 3 in the entire SEC.
Right.
3.
Yeah, running wasn't – it's teams are getting bigger guys in the middle to make running harder. So, like, in this game, and I think this was a very interesting factoid here, that, like, when I looked at it, both quarters, there was only 10 possessions total in the first half. There were 10 possessions in the first half, 5 possessions in the first quarter, 5 possessions in the second quarter, 5 possessions in the third quarter, and 6 possessions in the fourth. Actually, 7 possessions in the fourth quarter. And I point that out because even in the amount, like, Illinois State had 1 possession for 7 plays. The rest were 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. They basically just burned clock. And to Daniel's point here, he didn't realize that we had a terrible running game against Akron back in 2015, which Coop talked about at the beginning of the show. We ran for 100. Yeah, it's very eerie that this game had similar statistics as that one against Akron in Baker's debut. I'm just saying it's eerie. Not comparing them to Baker. I'm just telling you it's very eerie of how similar all of that is. All right, we'll get back to some questions in just a minute. I've starred a few of these, and Travis, I get to love this point. Disappointed that Satania didn't get a touchdown. I was too. He was close. Like, Mateer launched that thing, and he overthrew him by like 7 yards, which I didn't think he was going to be able to do. So I'm actually impressed. And
I mean, it looked like it was triple coverage because the guy that was on Burks came off at the end, so it looked like there were three dudes there. But yeah, I mean, but at the same time, like, you threw it deep in a game where you're really not trying to put a bunch out there. And I will say that, hey, listen, John Mateer literally was getting to know his guys, and there's got to be something to say that I think sometimes you saw, like, the defensive line play too fast. Like, they're playing against a different level of talent. Like, I understand, but there's a lot of people out there that would love to have this game versus the game that they had this week.
Absolutely. And one more real quick. I actually like this question. Do you think Illinois State got those runs because we weren't trying to stack the box to give Michigan any looks? We really did not try to. It didn't feel like we were trying to stack the box at all.
And I've got something on that, Jay. I took notes on these runs, And so the first big run, I think it was like the 24,
the
the
quarterback
24 yarders by
Wright's run.
Winker's right. Okay, so on this one, Halton penetrated so far, like he just blew out the line. Penetrated way too far. He got quarterback level and at the time of the handoff, and so he then was going to have to stop, shift his weight, and go back out. So he went for an arm tackle, missed. Now I will say that left Heineke, and everybody said Heineke blown out. Heineke freaking got double teamed by the center and the guard, and he like it does not matter who that person was. If it was Danny Stutzman, and he's getting double teamed by the guard and the center. That from the line of scrimmage because he came up on the line, and then I would also say this is I think that the only bad part about it was maybe Boganowski left. I mean, he stayed more middle so that there was no cutback, and that gave him an extra 7 or 8 yards. So there's that one. The second big run, Marvin Jones was the last defense due to the action, and Marvin just got sucked a little too far in, and then that's the quarterback run. That was the big quarterback run. And so, it was a little bit more of a screen type of play. But if you're going to be that last line of defense, that set in the edge guy, and right. I will say it was just a brilliant play call because if it was a handoff, it's a 4 or 5 yard loss. But Marvin's going to have to be able to stand on the, stay out and set that edge because again, same type of thing. By the time he realized and they handed the ball off or he kept the ball. Marvin had one hand out there, so it looked like it was first game stuff on a couple of on the big runs. You had one of 24, I think you had one of 23, and I think you had one of like 17. They didn't have 200 yards of offense, so that's something that will be better. Oh
yeah, I think it'd be better on the defensive side of the ball.
Coachability.
Yeah, it's just coachability. It's more of a at the same time, look, you saw Owen out there with Kip and Omasigo. So you got a combination of that. You saw Sammy out there by him. It was mainly Sammy and Owen or Owen with Kip, and then it was Kip and Kobe. Kobe missed on one. He went outside, and the running back cut up, which is what we want to get out of Javonte Barnes. And so he missed out on that play. But besides that, you didn't really have any other big runs from there. You had them focusing on and we played a lot more 3-3-5 than I thought we were going to. Like I kept seeing RMT, like R. Mason Thomas back up or whatnot. Yeah. And to answer this last question, let's go to the bad. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5 stars. Let's talk about some of the bad stuff, right? Like the run game was basically an issue, right, Coop? Like when you look at the offensive side of the ball, the run game just did not give us what we wanted. And this question has come up like 30 million times. And I want to be clear, not picking on you, Steele, but this has been asked a lot. And let me explain my rationale and what I thought would make sense with this. With the run game struggling, why did Ott only get 1 carry late? Twofold. 1, why would you want to put that on tape for Michigan? Just think about that. 2, we didn't really need the run. 3, Ott came in because Blaylock got hurt. So you had Barnes and Blaylock. They were your 2 starters, and Beef said this in his press conference, like on Tuesday of last week, that they started Barnes and Blaylock because they were the only 2 running backs available during camp. Xavier Robinson was dealing with some stuff. Taylor Tatum was dealing with some stuff, and Ott hurt his shoulder early, and they had him shelved. So they rewarded the 2 guys that were available for camp the majority of the time by letting them play most of the snaps. Blaylock dings his shoulder, so he comes out the game. You bring in Xavier Robinson. You pull Javonte Barnes because, quote unquote, he wasn't effective. And then you have Ott go out there for like 1 play. They put him on kick return because, in my mind, Coop, is you hope the team doesn't kick the ball off more than twice in a game. As in, they get a field goal and they do it on their initial kickoff.
Yep.
That's it. That's the only times you would expect this team to actually kick the ball off. So your goal is that Ott probably ain't going to touch the ball. He's going to catch the kickoff and he's going to basically down it or let it go in the back of the end zone like he did because he let it roll by him. That was what you're hoping for. Like there's no reason after you see him Blaylock get dinged up, it's kind of no reason to try to get your other back dinged up. So and I know that I heard someone say you could see him basically out underneath the coaches like, come on, let me get in the game. Come on, let me get one snap. Come on, let me get in. And so they're like, all right, dog, go in the game. Go ahead. And it was just not the greatest. But it didn't make any sense to truly throw him out there. Tatum is still hurt. Like, that's been the talk of him still being out. I don't know what the injury is. BV mentioned it in one of the calls. He said that he's still banged up. We don't expect Tatum to play anytime soon. So, with that, though, we're going to need to get the running going. Like, Ryan Fogier struggled.
He did not look terrific.
Oh, man. And that sack that Mateer got, the one sack we gave up was Fogier supposed to move around and block a guy, and he moved so slow that the dude basically spinned him around, and they were able to get to Mateer. I watched that play like 4 times. I'm like, dude. But at the same time, guess what, Coop? It's a true freshman. What do you expect? So
it's
what happened with a true freshman. Unfortunately, what was some of the bad that you would like to see improved on the offensive side of the ball? Of course, I know it's probably offensive line related because this is what everybody's complaining about.
I mean, it just is. I mean, from the offensive line perspective, yes, this is an FCS team. You should go out there and absolutely just knock the shit out of the people in front of you. Like there's just nothing around it. And I would say this is the overreaction is Troy Everett played like ass. He did not go out there and do that. And that's why you saw Michaela come in, and Michaela's first play was the longest run that we had. So
yeah, you saw that. That was kind of funny.
It is what it is. I think that what's going to happen with this offensive line for this year, Jay, is probably going to be something along the lines of you're going to see some really, really good, and you're going to see some like, oh, God. What you can't have is the situation where, Howland against Ole Miss at the end of the game where it was just bad. I don't think that you're going to be able to – I don't think that that's going to be a situation that we're going to be able to have this year, because I think that Mateer was sacked 34 times last year. He knows everything about, playing with somebody running down his throat. And Jay, on one of his scrambles he had, it looked like he looked read 1, read 2, read 3. Did you know that you could do that, Jackson Arnold? You can. But you looked read 1, read 2, read
Jackson.
3.
We've moved past him.
Hey, he's a running back at Auburn now, so that's good. Leads the SEC in rushing. But I will say this is Mateer had a decision, and he bounced, and he was out, and he was 7 yards downfield in a flash. And so I think that that's what you're gonna see. I also think that you get some of these other guys back in, and it is going to it's going to look a little bit better. I think when you get Fasusi out there, I'm at the spot right now to where I'm just like, hey, you just gotta bring in your best potential players and grow with them, because I think that there's a couple of guys that we just know who they are and they're the best available. But if a freshman, I'd rather have Fogier learning than just a half-efforted performance. But then I had this conversation with my daughter the other day, and it's like, yeah, if you're playing a weaker team and you play like you're playing against a weaker team, they're going to get you here and there
every time.
And I'm wondering if there's something that kind of went into that, because we heard all season this offensive line really just really came together, and they heard all the criticism. And then week 1, this is what you throw out there. Like, it's got to be better, because at the end of the season, I don't want to look back and go, man, we're 9-3. But we could have been 11-1 if our offensive line just did did something a little bit more. Just give me a little bit more.
We just need a little bit more push, a little bit more strain, as BV would say, more strain. We need more push on it. And I agree with that. I'm not going to disagree that the line needs to be pushing more people around. You could see the inexperience out there, but it's good that you're catching some of this stuff on tape and saying, hey, be prepared. You're going to be pushing some big dudes at Michigan. And similar to the way you were pushing big dudes in practice, be prepared to be pushing big dudes against Michigan. You need to get stronger and better with that. So the game prep is going to be fun this week for the team because now I saw the spread has been moving up. It's now Oklahoma minus 5.5, which is wild to me that it's already moving like this. But for us, as Mateer has been flying up a lot of charts, the bigger thing is we just got to make sure that we're prepared to give him time to throw the ball. The thing that I want to see more of, and it's not a bad thing, and it's not really a negative, while at the same time it's one of those that I want to see more of this. I need to see John Mateer run more. Like, there was lanes wide open for him to go. And his game is truly predicated on his leveraging his legs to make defenses have to respect him, make defenses have to add additional defenders on the field to chase him. That way, if he's going to pass it, you have someone that's prepared for it. If he's going to run it, you got somebody there that can keep up with him. But then that can open up your actual run game. That's something that I think we need to see more of. All right, defensive side of the ball. What the interior guys, we rotated a lot. I saw a lot of Marcus Strong. I saw a lot of Taylor Wine. Yeah. Someone mentioned that he gave us some good snaps. I saw a lot of mixtures on the interior and linebacker. We got to make sure that when we play Michigan, we're going to have to go to a 4-6 and just be ready to hit Justin Haynes as he comes through the hole. I expect it, but there obviously is no guarantee. What you see on defense that made you say,
Yeah, and, trying not to look toward, because we'll do this on Wednesday, but Michigan, Haynes had a 60-yarder. I think it was a 59-yarder, and then I think he had like 15 carries for 100 outside of that. So he's got some capability.
He's going to break.
Passing-wise, their leading receiver was a tight end, so I think that you're going to see a lot of Kendall Daniels out there or Reggie Powers covering that tight end. Outside of that, their receivers did not do much, and that was the entire game. So, I could go back and look at the stats again, but they're going to rely on the run. And so, yeah, Venables is going to know that you're doing a lot of run fits. Underwood did not do much running, and I expect that that's probably going to be a situation that you're going to probably see more of. Yeah. So where I'm thinking for the defense is, you had, I think I saw Jeremiah Newcomb in there on either the first or second drive of the game. He was a third defensive back out there. Listen, Jay, I really don't. Outside of just when you're the edge guy, especially with Underwood and Haynes, like, they're going to see the film where Marvin crashed too far down the line and the quarterback opened up, because they overloaded that side. They ran all action to the left side of the field. And it literally was, the defensive end was the last bit of defense to stop that quarterback run. And so Michigan's going to see that, and they're going to try that out. How disciplined are you? It's not going to be early in the game. It's going to be later in the game. Once you've got the defensive ends crashing down, they're probably going to try it on both sides. Our Mason Thomas, if there was a spot that he really needed to improve on, it was setting the edge and holding the edge. Mm-hmm. So I think that to be critical of this defense who gives up 34 yards passing, it's hard. It's hard.
Very hard.
It's hard to be critical about that.
It is.
There were no busts. There were no busts, but at the same time, there was not a lot of opportunity for busts.
I'd say the big couple of runs that happened were busts. They were holes that weren't filled that should have been filled. But at the same time,
Oh, here we go. I think Kip Lewis got a little too antsy pants a couple times, and I think
he did. He kind of missed some spots. Like it was unkip like.
Yeah, and again, I mean, now you're the guy at linebacker, so this is your chance to come in and shine. So I'll just stick in there that I think that those things will get. And again, if you went out there and you won 70-0, and there's not much to coach on except for where you let this 8-yard run go by, that's a hard coaching spot. But I mean, it is Michigan. Yep. You can point towards, and we're about to get to this. You can point towards Alabama, towards Clemson, towards Texas, and you can say, hey, listen, we're going to be playing these types of games. And if you are not doing the right thing at the right time, it could be the difference between us losing by a touchdown and us winning by a touchdown. So you got to get these details. These are things that you can't let go because I said it, in our preview. Every single team in the SEC this past year had 2 different games where their offense just didn't show up, and it was down to details.
That's the biggest thing. It's down to the details, and that's where you now have the tape to say, hey, this was the play call at this time. Why didn't you do this? And now they can answer it of, oh, yeah, okay, I see where I was supposed to be. And that's what you want. There was some busts. You saw Kip miss. There wasn't very many missed tackles. Like when I went and looked at PFF and they calculated a lot of them. There wasn't a lot of missed tackles while at the same time. Let me see. What did they have us calculate? They said we missed 6 total tackles. And that was a lot of inside stuff. Jaden Jackson missed one. Marcus Strong missed one. Kobe McKenzie, Kip, as well as Jeremiah Newcomb were the 5. And Grayson Halton. Basically, interior guys did not get the full rap. But the good thing is that you only gave up 117 yards, a total of 151 yards total. That, to me, I'm like, okay, we're nitpicking now. I'm just telling y'all now, as we mentioned in the beginning.
Nitpicking.
We are fully nitpicking on this because we played Maine, and Maine had 251 yards. Most of the other teams that played FCS teams, they gave up a lot more yards than us, and especially in the pass game.
That the Winker's right, kid. He's an FCS player. He's probably going to have a shot to do something in the league. He's a bigger kid, and so is Justin Haynes. Justin Haynes is 5'11", 210, and so you're going to have to be able to bring him down, and you're going to have to do that. Lower center of gravity. He's a junior, so he's got some experience. You're going to have to, and so that's what's going to happen. Now, I do think that some of those missed tackles, I guess Gabe and Teddy said there's 2 missed. I haven't got to listen to that yet, but some of those missed tackles are, opinions. Like I know the Grayson Halton one is the one where I mentioned where he overrushed and got up the level with the quarterback, and then he gave it off and he grabbed him by the arm. So. But again, nitpicking on a 160 yards total offense given up.
Yeah, we were only 3 teams in the SEC gave up less than 200 yards in their opening game. Florida gave up 86. Vanderbilt gave 135. We gave up 151. Not bad. I think we gave up the least amount of passing yards. We gave up 34. Florida gave up 49. Ole Miss gave up 69. Missouri gave up 73. Vanderbilt 88. Then, you go to everybody else that played other real teams. Run defense, we gave up the 100. We gave up the most. But the thing that I got out of it, again, is we burned a lot of clock. Like a lot of clock. And Clemson, for some reason, could not figure out how to run on LSU. Which is crazy. But anywho, all right, let me get back to some of these questions. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you are new to the channel. Please subscribe. There was a couple of questions that was actually just a good one. Primetime Vari pointed out that Kendall Daniels looked like a grown man out there running around. Yeah, he did. He was a big boy.
he looked like Sasquatch walking around, just looming, and it is going to. We didn't even get to see him do much yet, and I'm just so excited because I feel like when he gets a chance, it's going to be crazy.
It's gonna be so much fun. He had one play that he stopped the pass as soon as it came, and it was just what we were hoping for. Hank, what's good, my man? Ain't seen you in a bit. You've been quiet. Good to see you. No more one read passing game. Yes. As Coop pointed out, we ain't got as many on the passing game. So we've got some, Notre Dame and Miami is playing. I'm going to get ready to go watch that game myself. What up, Monty? Good to see you as usual. But yeah, the biggest thing with our offense is you could tell that Mateer was just out there playing around. And again, you don't know if you want to put too much on the tapes. Just think about that. Keep that in mind when you talk about a team going up against Michigan. And Burks was fine. He did come out because he went right back in. I saw him go back in a little bit later. And Arbuckle did a good job of putting some stuff together. And Travis points this out, which I totally agree. Cool. What was your favorite play from the game? Give me one, and we'll go back and forth on some plays, because there were some plays that I loved that made me say, "Oh yeah, I jumped out my seat."
Can I? Because I will say that the one-handed catch to Burks was not an Arbuckle masterpiece. That was Mateer and Burks. The back shoulder to Keontae was Keontae and Burks. I think the long touchdown to Keontae, to where he read 3 different spots and then caught Keontae coming across on that. I don't know if it was a deep in route or if it was a post, but he caught the ball. That was probably my favorite one. But again, I'm a Keontae homer, so shout out to Ken Lewis too. Ken's his pops, and over there in East St. Louis. So me and him have chatted quite a bit. But man, I really, really feel like just watching multiple routes, and then you know what? Maybe the Jacob Jordan catch, that might have been the most like, whoa, oh yeah, he's on our team too.
He's going to be fun. And I think they're going to find a way to get him out there. Favorite one play that I really loved, it's kind of really all the Keontae Lewis stuff, but not the touchdown where the defender fell, but that was just a really good go route. And he, regardless, you could tell Mateer was throwing him the ball. It looked like Mateer was like, "No, I'm throwing you the ball, dog. You don't catch that." But when he caught that under post, it was like him and Burks ran post. Burks went deeper. He went a little bit under. The line did a fantastic job of just opening up and giving Mateer time to just sit there. Mateer waited, and then boom, he chunked it. His time to throw, Mateer was getting rid of the ball pretty quick most times, but when he needed to sit there, like his time in pocket was like 2.48 seconds or something like that. I went and looked on PFF. They had the calculations on it. I think it was a little bit longer, but he was sitting there. He waited, and then he launched it. He did a really good job of getting rid of the ball, especially on some deep plays. It was nice. That pass was good. Defensive wise, man, there were some good hits. I think the Peyton Bowen blitz made me jump out of my seat.
Yeah.
Because that was
the Auburn blitz. That was the Auburn.
Yeah, that was the Robert Spears Jennings one. And if you looked at the way the play was designed, it was Peyton Bowen actually in the Robert Spears Jennings position with Boganowski. Though they were the two safeties in the game at that time, and I was like, "Oh heck yeah, give me!" And he flew right down there, hit that boy. Loved it. That was probably one of my favorite defensive plays outside of Reggie Powers trying to knock a dude's head off.
Maybe my favorite defensive play of the night's probably that pass to Scott Sokowitz and Gentry. No hesitation at all. Came up and said, welcome to the SEC, and welcome to Norman, and see yourself out the door. I mean, that was the aggression. That was the aggression that I wanted to see.
That was everything I hoped for, was that. And I am very... Yeah, the Kobe hit when he blew up that run, that's a good one, David. That's a very good one. He got back there, boom, and it stopped. Oh, man, just warmed. You could tell that the defense...
Yes, Monty.
Yeah, he back. That he wanted to take some heads off. And that just warmed my heart. All right. Let's talk around college football. There's a game on now, Notre Dame, Miami. We'll probably be able to get to it second quarter as it's 8 minutes left in the first. Ain't much really going on. It looks like it's back and forth of punting and the ball going back. So thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5. Coop. Yeah, this is a stinky game so far. It's going to be fun to go see how that's a defensive battle. But I do think Ben Arbuckle is going to be fun.
Piss poor play calling. I've been kind of looking over here too. And
yeah, I've glanced over there once or twice. It's been pretty bad. And yeah, the Burks catch, of course, we didn't really dive too far into it. Was, like you said, it was definitely a Mateer and him like, hey, I got you on this. You got me on that. Let's go. And he just launched it. Just throw it up there and let the man go get it. But anyway, talking around SEC ball. Big noon kickoff. First and foremost, shout out Lee Corso. I was a little sad when he went to his first love. Not going to lie. Your boy's little feelings were hurt. While at the same time, thanking him, 90 years old, making it this far, doing this. Bruh, it was... Got a little emotional, but yeah, it was good. Did you watch the Not So Fast, My Friend documentary?
No, not yet. But I will say that it's. I don't want to. I don't want to get too.
Go ahead. Patty's ready.
Get your puffs. Get your puffs.
Have them ready. Have them ready. I didn't sponsor the show yet, but you have them ready.
Did you catch the Rich Eisen Sports Center a couple nights ago? That
got me too.
That one, I used a pillowcase on that one. That one made me cry. Especially when he started talking about Stu.
Yeah.
But I will say this as it's as we get through. We're all getting older, right? You see more and more of these guys. I'm glad that Lee Corso got to go out doing what he loved. And I'm glad that he got to, it's not the fact that like Lee Corso passed away and, we weren't able to get, the victory tour or whatever. I do think that his time is up. It's going to get us all. Time is undefeated. But
yeah,
I will say this is, it was cool. I guess Kirk has been very, very instrumental in kind of like helping him out along the way. And I probably my favorite thing is when they had Corso, the band spelled out Corso right after he made the pick. That's the one that really got me.
Yeah. The Rich Eisen salute to Stuart Scott, who was the reason why I ever wanted to get into broadcasting. That them two was it. Yeah. Cooler than the other side of the pillow. And then when he said, you do not get, for those who are late, do not get fruit cup. I'm just glad Rich Eisen's back. So now, God, I've always watched his show, so he's my dude. But anyway, let's go ahead around the horn. Lee Corso, dope. That was great. Every team that he was associated with, all 5 of them won. Did you see that graphic?
Yeah.
Let me see. It's an ESPN college football. Let me see if I can find that. I thought that was very heartwarming to see that everybody that he was associated with ended up winning this past weekend. He made the pick and all the good stuff. Shout out Lee Corso. But anyway, Texas, Ohio State. Texas, Ohio State, cool.
Hey, I'm not going to pull my punches, Jay. You guys all know me.
I'm gonna let you go ahead. You do your thing. I'm gonna say this real quick, and I'm gonna let you go ahead and throw all the punches you want. This has been my thought. This is week 1. No reason to overreact or underreact on anything. It's a wait and see type deal. But please go ahead.
Yes. I will say this. The things that we were worried about with Texas was going to be the offensive line and was going to be the fact that you're looking at every single thing, basically giving Texas the national championship nod, the Heisman Trophy nod to Arch Manning. This guy has never thrown. I mean, his freshman year, he threw for 2,509 yards. That is his career high. And there were some clips going out of, with him. I mean, Twitter was lighting this dude up. Is it Arch Manning's fault that this hype has been, lofted upon him? No, it's not. But I will say, that there are a lot of, it's talking points, and it's Texas. And after last year, what Texas, came in the SEC and kind of did in the SEC, that more than ever, you're going to have a lot of different fan bases that are going to feel this way. But it wasn't Sark's fault. It wasn't. You go looking at Sam Acho. Go dig up Sam Acho's Twitter and watch him, a previous Texas player, showing Arch just not being ready. And it looks so damn eerily familiar to Jackson Arnold. Jackson Arnold came in against Tulsa. Jackson Arnold came in, Dylan Gabriel's final year here, and he looked really, really good. And then when it was his time, it did not look as good. Shane Buechele was another guy, of Texas in the past. Came in for one game when it wasn't his team, and he looked great. And then he came back, and it looked bad. This dude was skipping passes. He was throwing from funky angles. And so to give somebody – Texas is the de facto number one because they had to pick somebody. And if it was going to create the buzz, it was going to be that. Because people would argue that, well, Ohio State's the reigning champ. Well, Penn State, that. It went to Texas because nobody really had a team that they felt like was 100% going to be there. Yeah. We knew that Clemson had struggled. We knew that Ohio State lost a lot. We knew that Penn State can't win a big game. But I will say this, Texas' defense is legit. That's a good defense.
The defense is good. It really is.
I will
I don't overreact too much on that one only because them as well as Ohio State dealt with the same thing. New offenses, new offensive linemen, a lot of newness to them. But yes, I do think Texas defense is legitimate.
Well, and here's the thing is, if you are supposed to be the Heisman Trophy winner, I don't give a damn how good that other defense is. You ain't throwing a 0 up through 3 quarters. With all the tools that you had around yourself or everything like that, he did not look like a capable and functional quarterback at any point during that game. Did he make a couple of plays? Yes. Jackson Arnold made a couple of plays last year. But I will say this, you need to reset the expectations. I think that Texas is one injury on the offensive line away from a very scary situation. All these playmakers around, this going to be a running football team. It's going to be a running football team. And I understand he could not unseat Quinn Ewers. If he was Heisman Trophy winner in his first season, Quinn Ewers never comes back on the field after the injury. And we've been saying that for a long time. And as you guys notice in the chat, there ain't no Texas fans in here tonight.
Yeah, I'm very surprised. I don't see my favorite Texas people.
There's no Bama fans in here either.
Yeah, they're pretty quiet as well. Let's go right into that game. Bama loses to Florida State in a very humiliating fashion. Shout out to Lee Corso who made the pick of Florida State. He was the only one. Everybody else picked Bama. Not gonna lie, I picked Bama too. And I picked Bama mainly because I was still trying to see what I needed to see what Florida State was gonna be. But Tommy Castiglionis talking smack, he kind of retracted it. But at the same time, he talked smack and he talked the talk and then he walked the walk. He went out there and cooked them boys. 152 on the air, 78 on the ground. But what's funny is with them winning, I mean, they outgained Alabama 388 to 341 overall, and they passed the ball a third of the amount of times that Bama did. Like, I think it was a third. Like, it's Bama threw the ball 43 times. Florida State threw the ball 14 times. So what Florida State do? They beat Bama the exact same way we beat Bama. They ran it down their throat. They just beat them with toughness. 46 carries, 236 yards. They had they had two running backs over 50 yards, 3 over 30, 5 over 20. They were just handing the ball off and going. And Tommy was basically said, hey, get on my back, boys. I'm going to win us this game.
Well, when Castellanos was at Boston College, I mean, they went out early and they beat Florida State
Hank.
early.
Yeah, Malzone probably did win the Burroughs Award because of that win. Because everybody forgets, Malzone leaves. And this is the funny thing. I did not realize this, but they said it on the broadcast, Coop. Sorry to cut you off, but I thought that was fascinating. Malzone recruited Castellanos, I think, to UCF.
Yeah.
Then he transferred and left and went to Boston College. Then from there, when Gus left to demote himself, which I thought was a very fascinating decision, but, it happens.
Bold strategy.
Very bold strategy, Cotton. And Castellanos left halfway through, after 4 games in the second season there at Boston College. Brought him to Florida State with him. That was interesting.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of film going on, and, man, there's a lot of Alabama content folks out there blaming the refs. Listen, the hustle for Nick Saban, and you don't want to be the next one to drop off, that's gone. That's gone. And I've said this, Jay, is I wanted to see what happened at Alabama when you have an offense that's not predicated off of we're going to grind and wear your butt out. They have not had a running back in quite a long time that could be that dude. And that's why I think Justice Haynes went to Michigan, because he got to be a running back at Michigan instead of just being this finesse offense. And it started when it was when Tua came in and Matt Jones. They got away from that smash mouth running game, and that defense has not been able to. Alabama wasn't getting five-star guys anymore because they're making money somewhere else. And DeBoer was great at Washington because he had a Joe Moore winning offensive line. He had a very great college quarterback who's now the starter in Atlanta. He had 3 first-round, first-day wide receivers. And they still couldn't win the national championship with that whole setup. So I just say this is that's where I've been. I'll have to wait and see because, I mean, typically now if you sat behind a quarterback for 3-4 years and you come in, like, there's a reason why you're not the starter. It is one game. But I saw from what in a lot of the clips you're seeing them on social media with, defensive players not running down plays. You don't run down one play against Alabama, you won't see the field for the next 4 or 5 weeks. You will have to prove it in practice over and over and over again that you've made your mistake and it'll never happen again.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
There's no reason. I mean, listen, if they would have lost in a close game, I say, all right, you're still kind of getting some stuff together. That look uninspired.
Kalen DeBoer has lost 5 games where he is a 14 or more plus favorite going into the game.
And to unranked teams.
5. That's a lot. Hopefully that man did not get a brick in his house, but people in Alabama are lunatics. We'll see if his health allows for him to keep that job for long. Tennessee Syracuse was a very intriguing game.
Yeah.
That one was very, very intriguing to me. I personally had to sit. I want to see what Aguilar looked like, and he actually looked solid. I think Tennessee might have gotten themselves a situation. It's a lot better, in which I kind of told people that was going to happen. Kind of said that I thought that Joey Aguilar was going to be better than Nico. It just felt like it. He was going to end up being a better fit for them, and I think he was. He looked good. He looked solid. He looks solid. Let's put it that way. 16 for 28, 247, 3 touchdowns.
That team goes with the running game, and that's what has to happen. You got to have the running game. I don't think that they're going to be able to be in a spot to where the quarterback wins them games this year if it's completely on his back. And they've got one cat with 11 carries, one with 12, 82 and 92 yards, averaging 7 a pop. That's what you're looking for, and with some of the flux that they're having at wide receiver, you're going to have to have that running game, and so I feel pretty solid. Listen, as much as I wanted to be like, well, Syracuse is probably going to do something special here. Syracuse always looks really, really tough, and then they play an actual team, and it's never the results don't ever pan out.
Yeah, it's Fran Brown, man. I thought I figured he was putting something together good. And that's kind of where I was at in my conversation around why I thought this team would be of intrigue, was because I thought that, he put something together and we'd be like, oh, this is a little bit better than, I said anticipated, but yeah, they have not given us what we hoped for. Let's see. What's the next one? Let me get the next set of games up here so y'all can see them. Let's see. Do I have this up here right? I do. Let's move this over here. Gotta talk about it. Auburn Baylor. I know y'all been bagging on Jackson Arnold. He ran all over him. And I blame Dave Aranda for that game. Because Dave Aranda should have known that they were literally going to run it down their throat.
Your 100% established advantage was going to be your defensive line against their offensive line and potentially your offensive line against it's just at the line of scrimmage. And you know what Jackson was. And so Jackson was still doing Jackson stuff. He had to play. As long as he can get out there and run the ball, that's going to be an option for them. But I'll just say this is folks that thinking that there's not a talent differential between like the Big 12 and the SEC. Like Auburn's picked like 10 in the SEC, and Baylor was picked to win the Big 12. It's always going to start at the lines, and those lines are going to be early in the year. If your lines are not, if they're not good, it's going to show. Yeah, and they had one play.
And to go with
they
that,
made mistakes.
They did. But look at Sawyer Robertson, 419 yards passing, 3 touchdowns.
He threw it all over. They couldn't.
There were a lot of points in this game where we were wondering if, Auburn was going to lose it. I don't know about you, but when I was watching, I'm just like, this is kind of stinky. Is Auburn going to give this away? Are they going to fumble this bag? Now, I mean, they were up majority of the game, so, but when it was 17-10, I was wondering. But again, that's when you get Jackson Arnold just running all over them, running down their throat nonstop. They literally just ran it down their throat the entire game. Jackson Arnold was 11 for 7, 108 yards. Checks out. Then he ran for 137 yards. Like, I tweeted it out, and it wasn't a joke. I was for real. He'd be a really good running back. And he's proven that. Really good.
It's funny. When I see Jackson Arnold out there at quarterback, I think of Jaron Kanek at tight end. Like, you're just in the wrong position. Because I feel like if Jaron Kanek played quarterback, he would be Jackson Arnold.
I can see that. That's a good one. I like that.
Jackson Arnold should have he should have been under Colin Klein at K-State as a quarterback.
Ooh, that would have been fun. That'd been fun. Yeah. Like, so again, the Auburn's defense need to give him confidence, and he threw for 108 yards against Baylor, which he should have thrown for a lot more against Baylor. That Baylor defense and secondary is not that great. Then they ran for 308 yards, so I totally understand why they ran 51 times. I would too. You just ran down their throat nonstop. So Baylor, you ruined it. Last game that worth talking about. LSU Clemson. I was impressed with LSU. I
was also Jay.
I
thought that Clemson was going to really get after Nussmeier, and with all the stuff about Nussmeier here recently in the knee and the offensive line, I thought, man, you're one play away from cashing in the season.
Yep.
But then I saw Klubnik at quarterback. And
how does that happen?
Klubnik 2 years ago looked decent with no expectations. Last year, everybody kind of treated him like they treated DJ Uyunglele. It's like there was no expectations. You knew that he wasn't going to do anything spectacular, and he had a decent year. Clemson went under the radar. They didn't have a lot of talk about them the entire season. So he comes into this year with more expectations, and like our boy Arch, he's skipping balls and just some of the same mistakes that just continually happen. And so it just makes me wonder, like, hey, what is Clemson's ceiling? I mean, are you going to win the AC? I mean, like, this is why we are in the SEC right now. It's you want the best of the best players, because it seems like when Clemson, who lost to every SEC team that they played against last year, they just couldn't get it done at home. But LSU breaks the streak. They have now won one of their past 6 opening season games.
Whew, they finally won one. They pulled it off. No, Caden Durham, of course, was pretty solid. Dang it, man. Caden Durham is really good. He really is good. Nussmeier, man, he played his butt off. That game was tough. There was some catches that were, like, absurd. Like, the spot that Nuss was putting the ball was where I was like, that's ridiculous. I am impressed. He was putting the ball in some spots, and unfortunately, one of those touchdowns they did not get, which kind of pissed me off. But overall, Coop, we're back, baby. That's why the title of that thumbnail is "We're Back," because we're back, baby. College football's here. So, thank y'all once again for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5. Looking at some of these questions, they gave us some good stuff. Of course, Tatum is recovering from injury. Someone asked something in here that I wanted to look at. Will Ott be a Nagy bust? Coop, what you think?
That's negativity. I think the reason why Ott was out there was to show that, like, he's not injured and we're not holding him out. I think that if he had a chance to return a kickoff, he probably would have done it. They wouldn't have put him out there. They have other running backs up whatever in the fourth quarter that they could have trotted out there. So it's not like we needed a body. I think it was hey, just get out there, let's take one. Now obviously the O-line got him blown up in the backfield. But No, I mean, first and foremost, we knew that he has been dinged, but let's see him go into a game before we start, talking about the bust.
Yeah,
And,
let's wait. Let's wait on that. All right, next one. We don't need to keep rehashing that conversation. Hudson TD777 asked the question: how many touches will I get versus Michigan? As we continue to change that, 15 carries.
I was gonna say I'll set it at 15 plus.
Same. I'm about 15. I think 15 plus. I think I'm about in that spot as well. And Hudson TD777 asked this one: do any of the Gibsons play versus Michigan? Now, we saw Giovanni out there full uniform.
Dressed out.
He looked dressed out. I was like, oh, they're going to give him a shot? He didn't. But he was fully dressed out. I'm not going to expect to see either one of them play in Michigan. I'd say Auburn is when I could see them come back. But it feels like Keontez Lewis has taken hold of that position.
I would say that Giovanni will be in front of Jaden. I think that Jaden, if you say maybe South Carolina, if we see him this year, Giovanni, I would say that any time between Temple and Auburn.
I see that. Lemon asks, do we expect, what's up, Ryan Lemon, my boy? Do we expect to see Hawk redshirt this year if we can let him? I'm going to say yes. If we can, I think Hawkins redshirts. That would be great because then he'll have 3 years to play. I think he's been in the system for a year. He looked good in practice. I'd say yes. So he should buckle up.
Well, I mean, you're seeing every single team that we are heading towards playing at some point this year. Ole Miss looked better than I expected them to look. Alabama looked less. LSU looked a little bit better than I expected them to look. Texas obviously didn't look like the national championship winner. Neubauer is a dude who, I mean, again, he still gets 4. He'll still get 4 games. There was not a reason to really put him in because you could get behind all right, let's go with, just getting some more reps against a different team. But we'll see. We'll see because I think it's a situation where if John Mateer ever gets dinged up, I think that you're going to feel a little bit more comfortable with Hawkins playing than Neubauer. But I mean, if Mateer's healthy, I'm okay to see Neubauer out there because that dude can sling it.
All right, next. Chuck is asking, is Simmons going to hang it up for the year because of head injuries? What I've heard is that he's playing Michigan.
Yeah.
At least that's the last thing I heard. Now, I mean, I could be wrong.
He's expected to be available for Michigan along with Vasusi and Osida. Touchdown.
That is messages we've been sent out. Think that's it. We're going to get out of here. Y'all go watch some college football. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. New to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5. It appears that Miami just scored a 28-yard touchdown from Carson Beck to Malachi Tony. Well, y'all enjoy it. I'm about to go watch it myself on the couch. Need to go to the store and get some meats to throw on the grill for tomorrow. We'll talk soon. Happy Labor Day, y'all. Peace.
Peace.